Thank you. I'm so glad to be following that presentation, and appropriately, I'm here representing the Center for Anti-Racist Research, which was founded just a little over a year ago, under the directorship of Dr. Ibram Kendi. I'm very happy to share our work around COVID-19. So, very early on in the pandemic, it was recognized that reporting by state governments and the national government lacked a lot of racial and ethnic data. And so the question came up, where is this going to be available and how can we study any disparities? And so the Center for Anti-Racist Research embarked on a partnership with the Atlantic magazine's COVID tracking project to create the COVID racial data tracking project. And we collected, it was actually hundreds of volunteers collecting data twice weekly from government websites, dashboards, reports, and press releases, and compiling it into a accessible website. They collected data for approximately 1 year and closed out collection last March. The data involves 56 US states and territories. There is raw data that's actually available online, and I'll share a link. But there's also clean data that the center has put together to be available for further research. There are 260 data elements by state and over time, and also addressing policy. There are 70 elements related to racial ethnic reporting practices by state. The figure there on the lower left showing disparities in COVID mortality by race and ethnicity was shared during the Biden administration's first briefing to underscore the disparities that are seen, especially among Black and African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans, disproportionately shouldering the burden of COVID mortality in our country. So an extension of that project and merging with the ongoing work at the center has been the creation of racial data and policy trackers, starting from the question of what kind of data are we getting about COVID-19 with regards to race data science, with special focus on are there biases in the data and the algorithms that are used, and then also with a focus on eventually tying how we use racial data science to create policy solutions or system solutions. So, for example, putting this into effect, we've been working with Dr. Stokes, who's going to give a talk in a little bit about disparities or findings of excess mortality. And we're hoping to look at more closely these disparities by race and ethnicity, causes of death, and other dimensions. Another example of a policy project has been in the lower right figure there, you can see this heat map. We have fellows that are working on a policy report on data quality and how much information is missing on race that can vary by state. And finally, I wanted to highlight two other programs in the center. One being the affiliates program, where any faculty can join and be listed as an affiliate of the center, and you can be searched by your methods, by your expertise, and also research and policy teams, which are seed grants that we are funding. We funded 3 grants last year that are investigating state policies in food and housing insecurity, social safety net policies and their effect on COVID, and also access to Wi-Fi and digital fluency for what's called digital redlining during telehealth expansion. So the last slide just has a number of contacts and websites, and happy to collaborate and talk further. Thank you.